No matter what diet you follow, what religion you subscribe to, or what political party you lean towards, we can all agree that sleep is not for the weak, and you can't simply sleep when you're dead. It doesn't work that way. Sleep is a critical, significant, foundational part to living a full, healthy, happy, long life. Sleep is significant and it's critical, and let's face it, in this modern world, it's really easy to get shitty sleep, and that's why most people do. So if you're someone who wants to get better sleep at night, this video is for you. But don't worry, if you're someone who already gets pretty good sleep and just wants to further optimize, this applies to you as well. There's some really good things in this list, especially once we get down to numbers 5, 6, and 7. But keep in mind, you don't have to implement every single one of these. Implement as many as you can, pick and choose, but the more that you do implement, the further you will optimize your rest and your sleep. And one last thing to keep in mind before we get into it, some of these are fairly quick fixes where you'll see some improvement fairly quickly, but most of these you're gonna have to implement and turn them into a lifestyle, and you will see compounded results over time, and you will start to notice that within the next few weeks, your sleep is just absolutely amazing. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Number 1, you're not blocking blue light at night. If you're not wearing blue blockers or limiting bright and excess blue light at night, that can seriously mess up with your sleep and your circadian rhythm. Blue light, these bright lights can be from different sources: computer screens, monitors, iPads, iPhones, the lights in your kitchen, in your bedroom, in your bathroom, whatever, the TV. These lights are everywhere, and exposing yourself to too much blue light at night can inhibit melatonin production, disrupt your circadian rhythm, and overall lead to you not getting restful sleep, taking a long time to fall asleep, and you're just not going to be getting a restorative, beautiful slumber that we all deserve. So investing in a good pair of blue blockers has done wonders for my sleep. I've been doing it every night for the last 2 years, and if I was going to pick one thing that really improved my sleep, it is that: investing in a good pair of blue blockers. I have a video here on them, or link in the description to some of my favorite ones. Get from whatever brand you like, whatever style fits your face, but for the most part, what you really want to look out for is making sure that whatever brand you're buying from, they can actually prove to you with some sort of analysis that it actually blocks all the spectrums of blue light, because some blue blocking glasses do not block all the blue light that they say they do, and will ultimately just be a cheap product that's not really going to work. Reason number 2, you're not getting enough natural or bright light in the morning. This is critical for keeping a healthy circadian rhythm. As soon as you wake up, if you can expose yourself to the sunlight or a bright natural source of light, that would be amazing, and I'm serious, that really helps set your brain up for the day in terms of focus and concentration, because we do need some bright blue light in the morning. But also, when you get that signal from the sun in the morning, that tells your physiology, that tells your brain, hey, in about 10, 12, 14 hours, start producing melatonin, because we're awake now, we're gonna sleep later, and it keeps everything aligned and in sync for a healthy circadian rhythm, so you get better sleep. There's some nuances to this. If you live in a northern part of the world where the sun just isn't out in the morning, especially during wintertime, what you can do is, even if it's overcast, still go outside. The light is still bright enough, the lux score is still really high. But if that's not the case, invest in a little light box. For example, the light that I use for videos here, this is called a Happylight, and it's a full spectrum lamp, and I expose myself to this in the morning when the sun's not out. It basically mimics sunlight and is a good alternative. Nothing beats natural sunlight, but if you can't, this is a great option. I'll leave a link to the one that I use in the description down below. Number 3, you're working out too hard, too close to bedtime. Putting in a serious workout is great, but if you do it within a couple hours before you plan to go to sleep and actually get in bed, that can raise your body temperature, and we actually want a drop in body temperature when we go to bed. That's going to help us get better sleep. It's going to raise cortisol, and it's just not going to be good for winding down and getting deep restorative sleep. Now, there is some context to this. If you're someone who loves working out and you want to improve your health and improve your body composition and everything, and working out at night is the only time possible in the day for you to work out, then I don't want to say stop doing that. Just implement some of the other tips in this video, because it is important to work out and to maintain a healthy body composition. But if you're someone who can manipulate your workout schedule, it probably is best to stop working out within 3 to 2 hours before you plan on going to bed. So if you're doing a really hard workout right before bed and you can move it, do that. But if not, if that's the only time you can work out, like I said, I would stick to that. But that is something to keep in mind. Reason number 4, the room temperature is simply too high. Researchers have found that anywhere between 64 to 69 degrees is the optimal range of temperature to have in the room, degrees Fahrenheit, for an optimal night's rest. If the room temperature is simply too high, you're not going to sleep well. In the wintertime, it's really easy to keep the room cool, but in the summertime, it's really hard. Not only is it uncomfortable to sleep in a hot room, but it really does mess with your sleep. Fan, air purifier that circulates the air in the room, leave the window open, get an air conditioner unit, something to keep the room temperature cool. That can really help your sleep as well. If you want to take it a step further, you can invest in something like a chili pad or one of those devices. It's basically an ice pack that you put under your bed, and it keeps your bed and your body nice and cool for when you sleep. Reason number 5, too much stimulation before bed. This can usually be in the form of video games. I know most of you probably don't play much video games. I don't much, but I do play Call of Duty Mobile on my phone, and I notice that if I'm playing it right before bed, even with blue blockers and everything on, it's just too exciting. It's too stimulating, and it's kind of hard to get in bed after that. So if you play video games, if you're watching porn, number 1, let's stop that. But if you're doing something that's a little bit too stimulatory before bed, that can keep you up. So that's something to keep in mind. You might want to save that for earlier in the day. Reason number 6, you're eating too big of a meal too close to bed. If you can stop eating roughly 1.5 to 2.5 hours before going to bed, that is fantastic. For me, I'm in bed asleep by 9 p.m., so I stop eating dinner by 6 p.m., and I have found that to do absolute wonders for my sleep. That allows me to get a full, beautiful, restorative night's rest, and I notice, track it with my Oura Ring, that if I eat too big of a meal, especially one that's very insulinogenic before bed, I simply don't sleep as well. And I went and I talked about this in depth in this video right here. Here's a card, and the link is in the description. It's called 2 Things That I Did, or it's called Meal Timing for Better Sleep. It's a really good video. I go more in depth on that, but having a light snack might be okay before bed if you find that works well for you. But if you notice that you eat dinner too close to bedtime and your sleep is just not good, try shifting that a little bit earlier. Extend that overnight fast a little bit, and you will find yourself sleeping a lot better. Number 8, too much alcohol or too much weed before bed. I know a lot of people like to have a glass of wine before bed. A little bit of alcohol can help, improve sleep latency, which means you fall asleep quicker and can be okay and not disrupt much sleep if you have a little bit, but having too much can reduce your REM sleep, and this applies to marijuana or weed as well. I notice if I get way too stoned before bed, it's simply, I fall asleep really quick, but my sleep is not that restorative, and I often wake up the next day a little bit groggy. But if I have a nice small dose before bed, it does help my sleep. So having too much weed or too much alcohol before bed, if you're doing that consistently, that can really mess with your sleep. Try doing micro doses, or just do it earlier in the day, or just don't do it at all and allow yourself to get a beautiful night's rest. Number 9, this one seems pretty basic and pretty obvious, but if you're too stressed on a consistent basis chronically, that will hinder your sleep and have you sleeping like shit no matter what else you do. So address that, address the root problems in your life, handle that stress as best as you can. Find something that gives you some, a mind wandering practice, a mindfulness practice, something that allows you to de-stress. And oftentimes for people, this goes back to our previous point, that is having a sip of alcohol or having some weed or smoking some pot to kind of help reduce that stress. And I totally get it, because I've been there before, but there are other ways, and that's fine to do, but there are other things that we can do as well in accompany to that to really help the stress overall. We don't just want to get high to forget about our stresses, but we want to actually manage them and filter them better. Do some personal growth, some mindset work, get some help if you need some. Do the best that you can to manage stress. One thing that I personally love is practicing a heart rate variability training. I can do a video on that if you're interested, which is basically you learn to control the spaces in between your heartbeats via breathing exercises, and that literally lets you go from fight or flight mode to rest and digest mode on command. It's a very awesome skill to have, and that always helps with my stress levels. Number 10, if you find yourself not getting good rest because you wake up in the middle of the night on a consistent basis, this could be for a few different reasons. If you're waking up just to use the bathroom, then stop drinking so much liquids before bed, probably. But if you're waking up in the middle of the night for no reason, that could be that your body actually wants some glucose. It wants some fuel to do whatever it needs to do while you're sleeping. It could simply be that your body is waking you up to eat. And a really amazing hack for this is to have about a tablespoon, maybe a couple teaspoons of raw honey right before bed. This isn't big enough where it's going to be super insulogenic or where it's going to hinder your sleep from the point I was talking earlier. It's not a big meal. Just a spoonful of raw honey before bed can really help you stay stable throughout the night. If I ever find myself doing that on a consistent basis when it starts to happen, because it has happened before, raw honey before bed always works like a charm. Try it out. That could really, really help if you're waking up in the middle of the night. Reason number 11, you're consuming too many hidden sources of caffeine. If you find that you are caffeine sensitive, or that if you simply are having cups of coffee or caffeinated teas after 12 noon, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., that could be hindering your sleep as well. Maybe you're more sensitive to caffeine than you thought. And maybe it's not just coffee, not just conscious consumptions of caffeine, but maybe hidden sources such as certain teas. Different supplements and medications often have caffeine in them as well. Sodas, even chocolate, especially if you're consuming like a really good dark chocolate, can have higher levels of caffeine as well. And like I said, if you're sensitive like I am, that can be in your body like a slow metabolizer, that can be in your body for a long time and mess with your sleep, especially if you're eating before bed. If I have a whole bar of dark chocolate before bed, I really actually do notice a little kick from it, and it does take me longer to fall asleep that night. So consider, be aware of any hidden sources of caffeine in your diet and in your regimen. Reason number 12, too much light in the bedroom. This could be from a window. For example, my window has a street light right outside, and that's light pollution. It could be LEDs from all the devices in your room. It could simply be the light leaking from under the door. There's a bunch of things that you can do. Get some blackout curtains, hang a blanket over your window. That's what I do. Roll up a towel, put it at the under the crack of the door. Use electrical tape or duct tape to cover up all the LEDs, but keep your room as dark as possible. This actually really does help with sleep. And if there's too much light pollution and it's just too much to cover up in a bedroom, or if you travel a lot, consider getting an eye mask, a really nice comfortable one, because your body sensing that it's pitch black is really going to help your sleep. As I said, this is something that is really inexpensive, really cheap to do, but can bring some profound results. The last reason is that your sleep schedule is inconsistent. If you're going to bed at different times every single day or on a consistent basis, if you're waking up at different times every single day or on a consistent basis, that is confusing your physiology. Your circadian rhythm doesn't know what to adapt to, and it wants a routine. You don't have to have a routine for everything, although they do help. But for your sleep, you really want to consider this, because if you're going to bed at different times, waking up at different times every day, every weekend, that is super confusing. Every once in a while is fine. Going to a concert, whatever. The other night, I went to bed at midnight. Usually I go to bed at 9. Once in a while is fine. But on a regular basis, consistently have a sleep routine. Go to bed at the same damn time, wake up at the same damn time, because that is going to help your body adapt to your lifestyle, and therefore it's going to get further in sync and have a healthier circadian rhythm, and you're going to sleep a whole lot better if you seriously do that. This is probably one of the biggest reasons why people fuck up their sleep. Remember guys, I read every single comment that comes through, so leave your thoughts for me down below. What things have you done or implemented that have helped improve your sleep? I would really love to know, because remember, this is a community. This is not just me talking to a camera. This is for us to engage with each other. Let me know your thoughts in a comment down below. And if you implement any of these things, keep in touch with me. I want to know how they work for you. You can always leave me a comment or follow up with me over on my personal Instagram page. I'll leave a link down in the description. There's a thumbs up icon down below. Make sure to click that if you found any value in this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. My name is Steven. You probably know that. Subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you in next week's video. Go get some damn good sleep tonight, because you know what? You deserve it. You really do. Go get some sleep. Get some motherfucking sleep.